Show. I'm your host, Tyler, and today I'm going to be giving my Week 5 preview. It's just going to be myself today, but I'm excited for the show because this is going to be a staple of the show going forward. I'm going to break down each game for Week 5. I'm going to be talking about player news, so some injury news to keep your eye out for, leading into the game up until 1 o'clock until these games start. I'm going to discuss my favorite plays from each side, my favorite bet of the game, some deep ads who are less than 15% owned. So if you're really in a bind, you got injuries, bye weeks, you're not sure about the whole COVID. These are guys who should be owned or shouldn't be owned in your leagues, and guys who you can play. And then start or sit questions, and these will be like players that are ranked around the same according to Fantasy Pros, and also some people I've seen on Twitter that have asked the same people. So, with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, share our channel. It'd be much appreciated. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the first game that I'm going to talk about is Carolina. So Carolina versus Atlanta. Really, the only one here is Julio. I guess we'll see what happens. I believe that he's supposed to play. As of recording this, he's questionable with the hamstring. Other than that, everything else looks good. I believe Calvin Ridley's also supposed to play. So my favorite plays of the game, I'm going to talk about the Carolina side of the ball. So any Carolina player is good for me. This week, you have Atlanta giving up 13 passing touchdowns on the year, 121 receptions on the year, 11.7 yards per catch, 21 passing plays of 20-plus yards, most in the NFL, 72% completion percentage. These are all horrible numbers. I don't believe they're number one, but I believe they're number two in the league of most yards against in the air. So all the Carolina players are great. This is a great spot for DJ Moore, hopefully, to get it going. I love, Teddy Bridgewater this week if you need a starter. If you want to stream somebody, he's great. Robbie Anderson's been great all year. So all the Carolina players, Mike Davis, all good. I'm starting all of them. So let's go into the next one. And on the Atlanta side of the ball, I'm starting all of them as well. This is also a Carolina team who the defenses look better than what it actually has been, in my opinion. They opened up with the Raiders, gave up 34 points up and down the field. The Raiders did whatever they wanted. The Bucks, with no Godwin, put up 31. And then they got Herbert, his first game on the road, going across coast, right? So, what do you expect? And then they play Arizona team who's been struggling. So, yes, now they get the Falcons, who last week didn't look that great, against an underrated Packers defense. So, I believe this is a good game for both sides of the ball, and it's going to be exciting. Should be lots of fantasy points. Right now, the over-under is 53.5, so should be scoring. Favorite bets. I like Robbie Anderson, 73.5. I like him to go over that number. He's done it already. I believe he's done it 3 times this year, so I like it over, especially against Atlanta, who's been, like I talked about, awful against the pass. The next person, I'm only going to give one bet for each game. Next thing is the deep bets or deep plays. So this is somebody who's, like I said, under 50% owned. Zacchaeus, right now, he's 4% owned. Now, I guess this is more depending on Julio's health. And even though, if you're desperate, he did see 9 targets last week for 8 catches, 86 yards. So also Julio, he went last week, only played halfway, so it didn't even play this whole second half, I don't believe. So got to question it. Some rapid fire. Let's do this quick. Some start and sits. I got Hayden Hurst or Mike Gesicki. This one's tough. I'm going to go Hayden Hurst just because hopefully he gets it right and I own him. But Mike Gesicki plays San Francisco, so tough. DJ Moore or Hollywood. I'd go DJ Moore, Teddy Bridgewater, or Matt Ryan. I would go Teddy Bridgewater and Julio or Justin Jefferson. Honestly, I'd probably play Justin Jefferson because I don't trust Julio's health. I'm not going to, play him and he gets another half. No, thank you. Now let's go into our next game. Cincinnati versus Baltimore. So player news: Joe Mixon shin miss it. I don't think he's going to miss here. He was questionable, got limited practices in. There's a lot of players on the Baltimore side that are questionable. I believe all of them are going to play. The only one that's doubtful is Trey Phillips, offensive guard. So I just keep your eye on tomorrow. I believe all these guys are going to play though, like Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. So they should all play. They all practice this week. Favorite plays of the game: Hollywood. Last week, played majority of the snaps on the left side of the formation, so he's going to avoid William Jackson, who William Jackson actually hasn't been that bad in coverage this year for Cincinnati. And a lot of people say Cincinnati defense terrible. Actually, William Jackson, their pass defense hasn't been that bad. William Jackson has been pretty good in coverage this year, but he's been on the right side of the formation, so Hollywood should be able to avoid him, put up good numbers. Last week, had 4 catches on 8 targets for 86 yards, so hopefully they're not blowing the Cincinnati out. I don't think that they will, though. I think this game's going to be a little bit closer than what the line suggests. So I think it's going to be closer, and he'll have to be involved. On the other side, I'm going to say Joe Mixon. Now, the other side's tough because Baltimore has a good defense, but Joe Mixon, I believe a lot of people have been putting him in in their starting sits. Who should I play? Don't get cute. You drafted him probably in the first round, second round, so don't get cute. Play your studs. Uh, this is a Baltimore's defense that hasn't been that good, especially against running backs in the passing game. Now, their running backs are struggling right now. Patrick Queen has given up by himself 236 yards this year, 83% catch rate, 11.8 yards per reception, has covered slot receivers. So also, not too bad for Boyd as well. People will say Marlon Humphrey, but honestly, he might get Patrick Queen. So this is a good matchup. Play Joe Mixon. Some of the deep plays. Now, need a little drink of water. So Gus Edwards, 3% owned. They're 12.5 point favorites now. I think it's going to be less than that, but if it's 12.5, he's going to play. He'll probably see 10 carries. What he does with those 10 carries, but you could get worse at 3%. So I would play Gus Edwards if you're desperate, right? Giovanni Bernard, if they're going to be down 12.5 at 12.5 points, Gio's going to probably play a lot of the second half snaps or the 2-minute offense snaps, so he'll get some work out of the passing game. And like I said, Patrick Green's been terrible, so should have some receptions if it gets to that point. Drew Sample is only 4% owned, played 68% of the snaps this week or last week. Baltimore hasn't been that great against the tight end this year. They've been pretty decent, but he'll also see Patrick Queen as well. Patrick Queen has given up a lot of yards, so Drew Sample not terrible, but not ideal. Start and sit, Boyd or CD. I'm going CD. T. Higgins or Crowder. Flacco. Oh, what do you expect Flacco to do here? I'm a little nervous, so I'm gonna go. I'll go T. Higgins. Sample or Hooper. I'm gonna go Sample. Burrow or Cousins. I actually like Cousins this week. I'll go Cousins. Hollywood or OBJ. I'm hoping for Hollywood. So let's go Hollywood. I have OBJ, but I'm a little worried here. Ingram or Joshua Kelly. I'm going to go Joshua Kelly. And are you starting AJ Green anywhere this week? I mean, are you still starting him? I don't think so, so no thank you. Let's go into the next game. Jacksonville versus Houston. Player news. CJ Henderson, questionable now. Miles Jack, questionable, and I've talked about them before. CJ Henderson's their best cornerback. Might not play in this game, so Houston upgrade, and then you also have DJ Hayden, who's not playing, who's got on IR, their slot corner. So big upgrades here. On the Houston side of the ball, really nobody. Jordan Akins, I'll mention him a little bit later, but he's questionable, so see if he plays, if you have to play him. James Robinson, my first favorite play of the week, right, or this game. So James Robinson, I feel like a lot of people haven't appreciated. They've appreciated what he's done, but really haven't understand what he's done this year, right? Right now, Houston is giving up 721 yards on the ground this year. Most in the NFL. Most in the NFL by I think 50 yards or something. So they're getting crushed on the ground. 4.9 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. Robinson's been a top 10 fantasy running back this year. I don't think people really understand that through the first 4 weeks. So even if they're playing from behind, he's seen, I believe, 10 targets the past 2 weeks. Or not 10 targets the past 2 weeks. I've seen 10 catches the past 2 weeks combined. So 5 catches in each game, yes. So he's no question a top 10 play. Absolutely starting him, get him in your lineups. And then on the other side, all Houston wide receivers. Brandon Cooks has not looked. It's not that he hasn't looked good. He's playing actually. He's leading this receiving core in snaps. It just hasn't translated to points. Now, this is a good spot where hopefully it can translate in points, and hopefully it does if you're a Cook owner. This is your last chance. This is his last chance because after this point, if he doesn't produce, I mean, what everybody says. If not now, when? And unfortunately, if it doesn't happen this game, I would cut him. Next, let's go ahead and get to the favorite bet, and I like Will Fuller 66.5, and you get the odds are plus 102. Love it. I love that. This is one of my favorite bets of the whole slate. I guess it depends if C.J. Henderson is out. I believe he's going to be out. We'll see. But if he doesn't, he gets a seventh-round rookie on the outside. Trey Herndon has also played. He's 84th on Pro Football Focus out of 112. Secondary is going to be terrible. So Will Fuller should go over this game. Some of the deep plays here. Randall Cobb. I know I said 15%, but Randall Cobb right now is a 19% own. He's not a terrible play if you're desperate because, like I already talked about, Jacksonville secondary has been so banged up already. He could have a decent week. Yeah, that's what you're hoping with these, just hopefully. And Jordan Akins, 10% owned, 17% advantage over Josh Jones. Yes, Josh Jones. That's who plays on the other side. So he has a decent advantage. Has been decently involved the past couple of weeks. So if you're desperate, he's an option here. So some sit and starts, Fuller or Robert Woods. I'm going to go Fuller. Cooks or Tate from Dallas. I'm going to go Cooks, and I'm going to hope this is the game that he has a decent game. So David Johnson or McKinnon. I'm going to go McKinnon. And Minshew or Bridgewater. Love Bridgewater. Let's get into our next slate, or next game, and that's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders versus Kansas City. So a couple of injury news here. So the Raiders, Bryan Edwards is out. Henry Ruggs is questionable, so is Trent Brown. We'll see if they play. If you're going to be, bored tomorrow checking all this stuff, we'll be live streaming. Tomorrow we're going to be live streaming, so yes, keep that in mind. Live stream tomorrow, for sure this time. We'll keep you up to date. If you have any questions, come and ask. Kansas City side, nobody in question here. So let's get into my favorite plays of the game. And I'm trying not to be so obvious with these plays, right? Like, I don't want to be so obvious where it's like, oh, duh, he's going to be an easy play. So let's go ahead and talk about Darren Waller. Now, yes, kind of duh. Yeah, he's a great play, but honestly, he's seen a 28% target share. No one could cover him besides Matthew, but Matthew's been playing majority of his snaps out of the slot, so he won't see him. There's nobody on this team that can guard him. Mecole Hardman is the person on the other side. This is more of a gut call. Last week has actually seen the first time all year he's played more snaps than DeMarcus Robinson passing down snaps. So I think maybe this is the time where he starts to take over that third wide receiver spot and starts kind of gaining on Watkins, who Watkins hasn't been that great this year. And Mecole Hardman has looked pretty good. So I believe this is the part where he kind of starts that ascension up the depth chart. Just a gut call. Deep plays. And I just talked about him, but DeMarcus Robinson, 1% owned. If you're absolutely desperate, this is Kansas City, best offense in the league. So if you're desperate, sure. Sit, start, Hardman, or Gage. I'm going to go Hardman just because I like him a lot this week. Ruggs or Tim Patrick. Love Tim Patrick. I'll talk about him later. Love Tim Patrick. And Renfro or N'Keal Harry. I'm going to go Harry. Because actually Renfro has I'm going to go Harry. Let's go ahead and just get into our next slate. That's Arizona versus New York Jets. Yeah, a great one here. So on Arizona's side of the ball, nobody really to talk about of importance and injury news. And on the other side, you have Sam Darnold, who's out, and Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco! Flacco! He gets to start this game. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I feel bad for Jets fans. I'm sorry, man. This has been rough. Oh, when are they going to fire Gase? This is it. This is it, right? So, favorite plays of the game. Le'Veon, if he plays. I think he's playing this game. I've seen he's going to play. Haven't seen anything else to say he's not playing, so I believe he does. Obviously, check it out tomorrow though. Le'Veon, friendliest matchup against running backs, Arizona. Four top 25 running backs this season they've given up. Arizona has. Geez, that sounds terrible. I need to word these a little bit differently to make them sound good. They've given up 4 top 25 finishes to the running back position this year. So I think as long as Bell's healthy, he's going to be involved. Maybe Gase is, kind of a wake-up call, seeing Bill O'Brien get fired last week, and he's like, oh gosh, I'm next. I'm definitely next. So I got to get my studs involved, and instead of playing, 90-year-old Frank Gore, he can actually play Le'Veon. Let's hope, right? I don't see why not. And then you have Joe Flacco, who's king of the checkdown. So lots of opportunities in the passing game, whether or not, this game's close or not. You're going to have plenty of opportunities for Bell. On the other side, make it or break it. I really don't want to say it. Kenyon Drake, last chance, right? Last chance. I know we keep saying it. This is the last chance. Last chance. No, this has to be it. If not now, then truly when. He's had really good matchups. Hasn't produced with those matchups at all past couple of weeks. If not now, when? So he's playing at least 66% of the snaps, though. Last week was 64% of the snaps. So he's playing the snaps. It's just the production isn't coming. They're going to be a 7-point favorites going into this game. So yeah, Drake has been playing the running down snaps, where Edmonds is playing the passing down snaps. So 7-point favorites. Well, hopefully this is it. Hopefully this is it for all you Drake owners out there. I don't own him because I didn't believe him coming into the season, to be honest with you. But if this isn't it, then it's not going to happen this year. Sorry, guys. My favorite my favorite bet is honestly Jets +7. I think this is kind of like a sneaky game where really Arizona wasn't even that good last year. Oh wow, they beat San Francisco week 1. Okay, wow, great job. And since then, what have they done? They haven't really. Oh, they beat up Washington. Wow. Look bad against every other team, though. They look bad against Carolina. They look bad against Detroit was before that, so they haven't looked good. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in them. Yeah, I don't believe in the Jets, but +7, two bad teams. I think the Jets could cover here. We'll see. And then you got deep dives. Flacco! You need to start a quarterback this week. You got Flacco. Definitely sitting in the free agency, so go pick him up. Search starts Drake or Melvin Gordon. I'm gonna go Drake. I believe he's gonna have a good week this week. I believe in you, Drake. I believe in you. Crowder or Judy? Ugh. Crowder. Let's go Crowder. Hopefully somebody can catch the ball. Joe throws it to somebody, right? Bell or Drake? I'm going to go Bell. And let's go into our next game, Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh. Nobody really on Pittsburgh's side except Derek Watt, which may factor in a little bit because they're not going to be able to, run in like heavy sets with him out. I don't know who they're going to put there, so we'll see. So it doesn't affect it that much, but he's out. Deshaun Watson, or not Deshaun Watson. Geez, that's Houston, dummy. Deshaun Jackson, Alshon out of this game. All right, so let's go into favorite plays. My favorite play for this game, Eric Ebron. Philadelphia getting up the third most points at tight ends. He went from 66 to 73% to 81% of the snaps the past 3 weeks. Well, didn't play last week, but their last 3 games. Best game was when Johnson was out last week. He had 7 targets, 5 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Johnson has a tough matchup this week against Slay. He's probably going to be shadowed against Slay, so Ben could look Ebron's way more, and Did you see Philadelphia last week? I know it's George Kittle, but still, that was embarrassing. So I like him. I like him this week. And then Greg Ward is another player I like. As a Steelers fan, I'll gladly admit the Steelers typically can't cover slot receivers, and he's been playing majority of his snaps out of the slot. So Hilton's a good off the corner blitzer, right? But in the against coverage, man, he lets up a lot of big plays. So I like Greg Ward as my favorite Philadelphia play. I mean, if you have Miles Sanders, I've seen a lot of people say like, should I start Miles Sanders? Yes, you have to. You start your studs. Don't get too cute. Now, if you have my mic just get out. I don't know what happened there. If you have Miles Sanders, yes, you got to start him. Now, if you're sitting there, you have like Miles Sanders in the first round, you went, I don't know, Joe Mixon, and you're kind of sitting there and you have Mike Davis, maybe Mike Davis, right? Just, but honestly, you got to start Sanders. He could go off in this game. Who knows? You never know what could happen. He could score touchdowns. Who knows? You got to play. You got to play your studs. And then my favorite bet is Ebron 38.5. Yes, I'll take that. Deep dives, Greg Ward. He's only in, or not Greg Ward. Yeah, Greg Ward. I keep thinking of Gabe Davis. I don't know why. I keep getting those two mixed up. But Greg Ward, 12% of leagues right now. And like I said, uh, Steelers always, for some reason, can't cover the slot receivers. Have never been able to. I don't. It makes no sense. So, start to sit Ebron or Hurst. Ebron, Ward or Pascal. I'm gonna go Ward. No, actually Pascal. I got. We'll talk about him later. Deontay Johnson or Darius Slayton. Slayton. I like Slayton a lot this week. Sanders or Mike Davis. Hey, this is a question here, so I'm gonna go Mike Davis. Sorry, Sanders, and I own him. It's not. I'm not. I'm not. It doesn't look good. Let's go to the next game. Los Angeles Rams versus Washington. So for the Rams, nobody really to talk about here. Micah Kaiser, I talked about him last week. Terrible against backs out of the backfield, so if he's out of here, hopefully he plays because then Gibson might, have a bit of a better game because he's terrible against backs out of the backfield. So Washington, nobody to really monitor right now. I think McLaurin wasn't even on the injury list. Chase Young might play this week, which, hey, might give that defense a little boost. So let's go into the favorite plays. Antonio Gibson, I talked about him on my DFS, early DFS players I like. Changing quarterback Kyle Allen hopefully gives the team a little bit of a boost. Saw his highest touch total last week with 18. They just need give him the ball. Like I don't understand. Give him the ball. Get him involved. He's really good. Just get him the ball. He's the ninth rated running back by Pro Football Focus. Going against a Rams team that I talked about, Micah Kaiser, Kenny Young. Two of them have been crushed in coverage this year. So they've given up 246 yards through the air. And remember, these are just your linebackers. So they can't cover people coming out of the backfield, tight end position. Just can't do it. And then on the other side, I like Tyler Higbee. Seventh friendliest tight end matchup has given up tight end yards to tight end. We'll have matchups against Kevin Pierre-Louis, who hasn't been that bad. Lano Collins hasn't been that bad. But Jonathan Bostic, Steelers used to have him, and he's terrible. He can't cover anybody. So I like him in this spot. McVay can exploit it, so hopefully he does that with these guys here. Let's go ahead into my favorite bet. I'm going to go Tyler Higbee over 37.5 receiving yards, and deep plays none. There, maybe I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Kyle Allen, so we'll see what happens. Other than that, there's nobody. I wouldn't add anybody in this game. Don't like it. So start Gibson or McKinnon. I love Gibson, but I think McKinnon has a good week this week. A higher floor. I think a higher ceiling really. So I'd go McKinnon, Woods or Cup, or I'm sorry, Woods slash Cup. So both of them kind of compared right around the same place. Or Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson over both of them. Bang! Hot take. Is that hot? I don't know. Henderson or Henderson, Brown, or Joshua Kelly. I don't like any of the Rams running backs. No way. I'm not trusting this backfield. I don't know who's going to play. I think Cam Akers is playing. So no, thank you. I'm not playing that. Henderson, no, I already did that one. Goff or Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones. Give me Daniel Jones this week. Only week you're going to be able to play him. Let's go into the next game. Miami versus San Francisco. Player news. We have, I don't think anybody on the Miami side. No, nobody on the Miami side. And then 49ers. Debo's going to play. I believe Mostert's ready to, I believe he's coming back this week as well. Make sure, like I keep saying, tomorrow's the big day. Can they get through warm-ups? Are they going to be able to play? But right now it looks like they're going to be able to play. Jimmy G is going to be back. Favorite plays, McKinnon. I don't believe Mostert comes back in this game and just gets all the touches. I don't think so. McKinnon has looked really good. And I don't think that Shanahan's just going to go away from him. I think that's going to be like both of them, two-headed monster. Tevin Coleman, I think he's on his way out. Like, these two look really good. And like we say all the time, Shanahan just plays the running back position so well. Like, these guys produce. He's so good at getting them involved and getting them to produce. So I like McKinnon a lot this week. I believe he's a top 20 play, even with Mostert coming back. The only person I'd really be interested on the Miami side is Parker. Fitz was harassed all game last week against Miami, and that's why, or against Miami. He plays for Miami, dummy. Against the Seattle. This week they play San Francisco, who probably can get to the quarterback better than what Seattle can. So actually, I think Seattle has like one of the lower pressure rates in the NFL. So yes, they can. So I think he's going to be harassed all game, and I believe the start of Tua time. So the only person I'd really be interested is Parker. If you have to play Gaskins, you could do worse, and if you have to play Gesicki, you could do worse. But I really only one I like is Parker. Favorite bet, Kittle 67.5. Too low. Too low. 67.5. Too low. Especially because actually Miami gets Byron Jones back this week. So they get Byron Jones back, and then they have Xavier and Howard on the outside. Like, those are actually two pretty good cornerbacks. So I believe that they're going to kind of take away both these wide receivers, and then you have George Kittle, who's going against, I forget what the matchup is, but um, he's going to dominate this matchup. He dominates everybody. So I like him in this matchup. Deep plays, none. Sorry. Starter sit, McKinnon or Gurley. Ooh, that's tough. McKinnon. Let's go McKinnon. Jimmy G or Wentz. Yeah, Jimmy G. Debo or Gage. I'll go Debo. Gaskin or Henderson. Oh gosh, Gaskin, because I don't know what to expect from Henderson. Parker or Justin Jefferson. Easy, Justin Jefferson. Gesicki or Hurst. Hurst. Let's go into our next game here. Indianapolis versus Cleveland. So, injury report. This is kind of big. Anthony Fasano's out this week, and so is Darius Leonard. So, especially for Castano, because this is, obviously Costanzo. I don't know what I said the first time. But Cleveland right now is top 5 in pressure rate. So this is, to me, this is big news. I think that they're going to be able to get to Rivers quite a bit, and I will take the line because I believe that they win this week. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit later as well. But on the other side, Greedy Williams, I believe, is out. Yes, won't play this week. So other than that, not much. My favorite play is Kareem Hunt. Like I said, Darius Leonard is out, and I believe Cleveland might be the best running team they're going against probably the best, but have one of the best run offensive lines in the NFL this year. And I just think that they're going to be able to, Kareem Hunt, no matter how the game script goes, is going to be involved. So I like Kareem Hunt this week. On the other side, Mo Alley Cox. Cleveland's given up the 7th most fantasy points to the wide receiver this year. Has scored in 2 straight weeks. With week 2 having over 111 or having 111 yards. So I think he's like honestly a borderline top 10 play this week at the tight end position. And then my favorite bets, I did it last week, and I'm going to do it again because the production just hasn't been there. T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton under 53.5. I don't know why this keeps staying at 50. Like, he hasn't gone over that at all. So I'm going to stay under 53.5. Maybe this is the week that he gets over. So D plays Zach Pascal, or Zach Pascal. I keep saying Pascal. Zach Pascal, 6% owned, played majority of the snots. Played majority of the snaps out of the slot last week. Gets Tavier Thomas, who last week I talked about CeeDee Lamb should crush him, which he did. And right now he's ranked as the 81st cornerback by Pro Football Focus, and he's given up an 86% catch rate. So yes, I believe that Pascal is not that bad of a play this week, honestly. Cream Hunt or Gurley for the sit or start. I'm going to go Hunt. OBJ or Fuller. Landry or Higgins. Or, Ernest Johnson or Justin Jackson. I'm going to go Ernest Johnson. I believe he's a little involved in this game. Taylor or Hunt. So going against each other. Jonathan Taylor or Hunt. I'm going to go Hunt. And Mo Alley Cox or Hooper. I'm going to go Cox. Let's go ahead and get into the next game. Rapid fire. We're getting through these games. All right, so the next game here is New York Giants versus Dallas. Hopefully this game's high scoring. I really hope so. I'm a little nervous that it's going to be a little bit deceiving because everybody's expecting it to be, and maybe it's not going to be, but we'll see. Good product placement here. Here we go. Oh, actually, let me do this one. We could have a sponsor here. Quick word from our sponsor. This is more of a realistic sponsor for us. Northeast Dental Arts. You need your teeth cleaned? You need a dentist? Northeast Dental Arts. They have your teeth back. We should talk to them. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Favorite plays. CeeDee Lamb gets the New York Giants. I've talked about him. I talk about him all the time. It's a little crush for me, right? I love CeeDee Lamb. He's so good. Well, especially in this offense. He's probably has the best matchup of all the games. Out of the slot plays against Holmes, who's rated. I already talked about this. The 108th wide receiver or 108th cornerback out of 112 by Pro Football Focus. Grade of 37 out of 100, not very good. Should dominate this matchup, playing 93% of snaps out of the slot. Last week went for 5 catches, 7 targets, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Could have honestly been bigger. Dak missed him on a wide open touchdown pass, so could have probably had 3 touchdowns last week. And then on the other side of the ball, I like Darius Slayton. He gets Worley and Travion Diggs, which he might probably, because these two stay on the same side, so they don't move, and Darius Slayton plays more. I believe it's on the right side, and Travion Diggs plays on the right side. And Travion Diggs is the better matchup of the two. Both of them aren't good, but it gets Diggs over there, and I think that he can produce. Both of these two combined have given up 355 yards on the year. So if there's ever a game for the Giants to do well, this is it. And Darius Slayton, I believe this is the game. So my favorite bet, I love CD right now. The only thing that I'm worried about is Dallas possibly getting up in this game, and they don't have to throw it that much. But their defense has been terrible, so I don't know. But CD right now is at 56 yards and 4.5 catches. For right now, the 4.5 catches for all of these, except 1 week, I don't believe he went over 56 catches. Hey, somebody's got to tell me over here. Hey, Tyler, go to the next game here. But he's seen the over on all of these. So these lines right now to me don't make sense. I like them. I like both of them. And for the catches, you're getting plus 118. So it's a positive bet, and I like the over on that as well. And then I guess I don't want to just be a CD homer. I'm going to just go with Darius Slayton as my favorite bet of this game, though. 50 because I think Darius Slayton, if they do go down, he'll obviously have a lot more opportunities than CD would. So right now, 57.5. I like him to go over that receiving total for minus 113. And he's only gone over it once, but he's seen Pittsburgh, Chicago, San Francisco, and the Rams. He should be able to beat all of those he shouldn't be able to beat those secondaries. Those secondaries are much better than the one he's going this week. He should be able to beat this secondary. So yes, I like the over. Deep ads. Oh gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Wayne Gallman had 6 carries for 45 yards last week. Had terrible defense. If you need somebody, look elsewhere, but I had to include him. The sitter start, Gallup or Boyd this week? Boyd. CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson? Flip a coin. Evan Ingram or Schultz? I'm going to go Ingram. I like him to come back this week. Daniel Jones or Burrow? Daniel Jones. Let's go, baby. Danny Dimes, baby. Oh, I forgot to pause this. Stop that. All right, so let's go down here. Okay, well, we're going to the next game anyway, so Minnesota and Seattle. So let's go to the next game here. Let me pull it up here. This is our Sunday Night Football game. This should be a pretty good game. I'm kind of excited for it. All right, so player news. On the Minnesota side, you have both the cornerbacks right now who are questionable. If they don't play again, they're down 2 cornerbacks going against 2 scrubs. No offense. Seattle, Jamal Adams is out. Other than that, Hyde's questionable, so other than that, nobody of importance. So let's go ahead and talk about the favorite plays after I get a sip of water here. All right, so Justin Jefferson, you got Shaquille Griffin, and Trey Flowers have given up, just these 2 combined, right? Have given up 514 receiving yards between the 2 of them on the year. 514 receiving yards between the 2 of them. Seattle's given up the most yards through the air, 1,604 yards right now. Justin Jefferson has been the #1 rated player by Pro Football Focus at 90. He has right now a wide receiver. I shouldn't say overall. At wide receiver, he's 90 right now. So last 2 weeks has played exclusively on the outside. The first 2 games he was playing in the slot. The past 2 weeks he's been playing on the outside. And then what you're kind of seeing is Seattle's playing a lot better football. Now, yes, they are, I believe, they won last week against Houston. So they're 1-3. They've been playing better, though. They should have beaten Tennessee. But they've been playing better football. Maybe this is why. Maybe because now they've moved him outside. This offense is clicking, because honestly they are. And you have right now, the past 2 weeks, Kirk Cousins has had an average passer rating of 111, 65% completion percentage, and 255 yards passing. So he's been playing well as well. I like Justin Jefferson. And on the Seattle side of the ball, you have, I think, you're starting everybody on that side of the ball. Maybe not Greg Olsen, obviously, but you have DK. I don't need to talk about those guys. DK, Tyler Lockett, Carson, Russell Wilson. Start all of them. No brainer, start them. Favorite bet though. It's not that I don't like Dalvin Cook, right? I kind of talked about him last week. Some people didn't like to take, whatever. But Dalvin Cook, 74.5. I like the under on this one. Seattle right now is the 3rd best rushing defense in the NFL. They've only given up 303 yards on the ground. And they gave up 34 yards to Zeke on 14 carries. So Minnesota right now, or not Minnesota, this is Seattle, has a minus 56% disadvantage on the ground. Or not Minnesota, yes, Minnesota does. Duh, I'm talking about Dalvin Cook. So they have a 56% disadvantage on the ground this week. That's the highest in the NFL this week by Pro Football Focus. So I just don't think they're going to be able to really establish the run game here, so Kirk Cousins is going to have to pass it. Deep dives, none. Start, sit, Jefferson, or I love Jefferson. I didn't put anybody even in there because I love him. I think he's honestly a top 20 play this week. Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Oh, I did put Jefferson here, or Juju. Jefferson or Juju? This one's tough because I love Juju, but I'm going to go Justin Jefferson. I believe in Justin Jefferson. He's looking really good. Let's go into the next game. Monday night, Los Angeles Chargers versus the New Orleans Saints. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these. Injury news. Well, player news, Justin Herbert's been ruled the starter for the foreseeable future. He's their starting quarterback going forward. Hopefully he doesn't mess it up, and hopefully they don't put him on a short leash. Just let him play football. If he doesn't do that well, screw it. You want to go to Tyrod? On the Saints side, you have Janoris Jenkins, who has been ruled out, and then you have some questionables. Now, this is tough because next week they have a bye week. So are they going to play all these guys? Or are they going to let them, get an extra week of rest with the bye week coming up? I'm not sure. But you have Jared Cook, you have Michael Thomas, and then you have Marshawn Lattimore. So those are three big guys that, are going to affect this game because you have Keenan Allen, my favorite play, coming into this game, 31% target share. They're 9.5 underdogs here, 9.5 point underdogs, and they're going to have to throw a ton this week. Top 10 play for me this week. I love Keenan Allen this week. Don't overthink it. Play him. Joshua Kelly. Right now, the beat reporters for the Chargers are saying he should see bulk of the work. Now, I'll believe him when I see it. Dang it, didn't change this game over here. I'll believe him when I see it. I think Justin Jackson is still involved in this game. I think they do what they've done, right? Even last year, you had Eckler involved when they have Melvin Gordon. So this year, Joshua Kelly's been involved even though they got Austin Eckler. I think Justin Jackson still plays in this game, but I do like both of them in this game. Let's go ahead. Favorite bets, too early, so I don't even think they have any player prop bets out, so I haven't looked at it. Deep starts, none, unfortunately, and I only have one starter sit because I think if Michael Thomas plays, obviously I wouldn't play any of those Saints wide receivers. I'd only play Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. I play Jared Cook if he's playing because I do like him a lot this week. I didn't even talk about Jared Cook. I forgot to talk about Jared Cook. Jared Cook gets a very, very good matchup this week against Kaiser White. Kaiser White, talked about him last week, I'm sorry, can't cover anybody. Last week gave up 10 catches on 11 targets for 134 yards. Prior to that, it has been pretty either. So really, he's given up a lot of points, especially to the tight end position, so I like Jared Cook in this game as long as he can go. Starter said I really only have Joshua Kelly or Ingram, and honestly, I'd go Joshua Kelly because that Baltimore backfield is just a mess. I don't know who. Obviously, like Mark Ingram's the lead guy, but at what point do they let Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins just take over? They need to. I think they'd be a better football team. So let's go ahead and get into our last game. No, we got one more game after this. Tuesday. I forgot Tuesday game. So other Monday night game is Denver versus New England. You have Cam Newton. I don't know if Cam Newton has, I believe, I don't think he's actually been, so I don't think he's been out. So it looks like he's going to probably play. Maybe. Just something that you got to really monitor. And these are tough because, man, what if he gets a cough? Is that a symptom then? Is that what they're going to label it, a symptom? So, I don't know. These are tough. But I think he's going to play this week. You have some other Patriots who are labeled as questionable, but I think they all play. Denver side of the ball, you have KJ Hamler who's out, which is going to be good for a guy I'm going to talk about. Drew Lock is questionable. I don't know if he goes this week. I think it's just going to be Brett Rippon again, but it's something to monitor tomorrow. We'll let you know for sure. Favorite plays, Damian Harris on the New England side of the ball, especially if Cam comes back. I think Damian Harris is going to be a really solid play going forward. They liked him a lot in camp, more than Sony. He looked good last week. Now, granted, it was against a Kansas City team that's been getting beat on the ground. So, and this is actually a pretty decent rush defense in Denver, but I like him this week, and I like him going forward. He's going to be their goal line back, so maybe Cam doesn't get that many rushing touchdowns anymore, and he's going to vulture some of them. We'll see. And on the other side, Tim Patrick, man. I'm a Tim Patrick homer, man. No Stephon Gilmore in this game. Had 6 catches on 7 targets for 113 yards last week. Yes, it was against the Jets. But prior to that, had one. Brett Whippen had one series. On that one series, targeted Tim Patrick 3 times for 3 catches. So I just think he likes Tim Patrick. And I just think that they're going to be underdogs in this game playing from behind. So Brett Rippon's going to rely on them. So I like him this week. My favorite bet, obviously too early to tell. Deep plays, Tim Patrick, only 18% owned. Yes, it's not 15%, but 18% owned. I love him going forward, honestly. I like him a lot going forward, more than Jerry Jeudy. I like him going forward. You heard it here, maybe another place first, but you heard it here first if this is the first time you're hearing about it. So, yes, I like Tim Patrick going forward. Edelman or A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's got a tough matchup, but A.J. Brown. Tim Patrick or Greg Ward. Tim Patrick. Melvin Gordon or McKinnon. McKinnon. And let's go into our final game here. Buffalo versus Tennessee, the Tuesday night game. This is gonna be odd seeing a Tuesday night game, but I'm happy. I'll bet on this game, right? We'll do a Monday night preview of the Tuesday night game. How about that? Let's do that. That sounds like a good idea. So let's talk about players out. You have John Brown, questionable, played last week. You have Zach Moss, who didn't play last week, who's questionable. We'll talk about it because I got the guy Singletary I'll talk about. And then you have A.J. Brown, who I believe he's going to go. Other than that, no other injury news. So favorite plays, Devin Singletary. He's been a top 15 play. He's a top 15 play if Moss is out. Past 2 weeks with Moss out, has 34 points and has seen an average of 20 touches. I mean, I don't know why they keep trying to do this split. I don't know why they don't like Singletary, because even when he took over that backfield last year, he looked good. To me, it doesn't make sense. You can say Moss looks good as well, but Singletary's looked really good. I don't know. So I hope he plays. If Moss is out, he's a bell cow for this offense, on a very good offense this year. That Josh Allen running for the MVP, because this team looks really good. On the other side, Jonnu Smith. Buffalo's been leaky against the tight end this year. Waller last week, 9 catches on 12 targets for 88 yards, and Gesicki tore him up on 13 targets he had 8 catches for 130 yards on them a couple of weeks ago. I believe that was week 2. So, yes, I like Jonnu Smith this week. Bets too early. Deep plays, none. Gabe Davis, don't think about playing Gabe Davis. Don't do it. He saw 1 target last week, had 1 catch for a touchdown. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So unless John Brown's ruled out, then yes, he's a decent play. But this game plays Tuesday. You won't really have the injury report until Monday. So no thank you. And starter sit, A.J. Brown or Gallup. I'm going to go Gallup just because, and I'm going to go Gallup just because I'd rather have the points for sure, where if one player tests positive out of these guys, this game's not going to happen. Now, I know that they said there's been none, and they've been back to practicing, but if one guy misses, then, yeah, this is out. Dang it, I should have been over here this whole time. Cut that out. So I'm going to go over here. All right. And that's going to do it. So we're going to be live tomorrow. Actually, I'm just going to go back and do the start and sit here. So I'm going to try to get in the same position. All right, let's go into the start and sit. A.J. Brown or Gallup. I'm going to go Gallup just because if you have one more positive test, this game isn't going to happen. I know that they said nobody's came back positive, but still, I'm going to go Gallup. And then Mike Gesicki or Jonnu. I like Jonnu this week. And that does it. So thank you for listening. It's been a quick, week 5 preview. And I'm excited. Tomorrow we're going to do a live show for sure tomorrow. The plan is, I believe we're going to do it at either 10:30 or 11. So we're going to be on. We'll answer any questions that people have. We'll go on Twitter, look at some of the, a lot of the questions. A lot of people ask questions on Sunday on Twitter. And we'll, talk about player news. More prop bets will come out. We'll talk about prop bets. So we'll be, active. Make sure you follow us. Follow that live stream. We'll give you lots of good advice here. Thank you so much for listening, and